So here we have a sculpture that describes a year in history. Now, one might wonder, how could it be possible to describe a year of history in a three-dimensional object? By working with synchronicity, time and place. I'll show you. 2021 started for me in January when a gentleman came in here, a lovely concreter, and he said, I'm concreting under a house, and there was this thing under the house, and the owner said to me, take it to the tip, we don't want it. He said, I'm not going to take it to the tip. Instead, he brought it to me because he knows I resurrect the dead. So he brought this in, and it's the harp, the soundboard, and the backing timbers from a Lincoln Ola, which is a Lincoln pianola from New York City. Serial number 161545. So it's a very select piece of equipment and an expression of the great American dream. Now, at the beginning of 2021, my feeling was the great American dream was losing its luster. In fact, it seemed to me that it was going through a major shift, a death of kinds, a rebirth potentially. So I decided to flip it upside down and go with the harp and get the angelic quality of the harp. And then I thought it'd be really nice if I could find a way to get something to engage with it. By the way, this is for sale. This thing is desperately looking for a home, a place it can live in good surroundings and tell its story forevermore. Well, for a while anyway. So there's a little something that takes advantage of the movement. There's a piece at the top here too. So what happened in 2021 for me was I got this thing erected. I put a music box under there that's talking about the music of the spheres. It's all done to the Tesla code 369 because people were talking about it at the time. And then my neighbour came to me and he said, will you drive my 6-wheel drive Parenti to the tip of Cape York and back for me? And I said, why? He said, I want to take my daughter on the motorcycle ride of a lifetime. But we have to go in a couple of days because I'm pretty sure there's a lockdown coming. So we loaded up the truck, bought a swag in a hurry, took off, and we headed for Cape York. And while we were in Cape York, we camped on the Wenlock River. And I saw this piece of driftwood sitting in the Wenlock River. And it reminded me of a symbol like the eye of God or the eye of a whale or something. And I thought, I'll bring that back. I might find a place I can put it in this. It kind of gives it a heartbeat, doesn't it? And then we came down the east coast and we went to Usher Point. And we were walking along the beach, looking at all the flood debris, all the wash up from the Coral Sea. And my friend went into a cave and he found a little paddle that had been floating in the ocean. And I looked at it, and I'm an intuitive, and I'm also a lover of indigenous things. And I looked at it and I thought, that's a pygmy paddle. It's too much work to be a child's toy. It's too small to be a normal paddle. And he explained that we were only 170 miles or something from the mouth of the Sepik River. And then I understood where it had come from. Anyway, that little paddle didn't make it back here, but I brought a piece of the firewood. This is the cypress pine from up in the Cape. And I made my own paddle. Now, at the time, in 2021, I came across this symbol. This is a symbol from the Dogon people in North Africa. And the Dogon people see this symbol as representing the stars of Sirius. Now, what I read on our marvellous internet was that The Dogon people knew that the stars of Sirius were a pair, and they knew that the smaller star was extraordinarily heavy, heavier than anything we can imagine. And in fact, that our galaxy revolves around it. So here's the central sun of Sirius. There's our galaxy. Here's the corona of 2021. Here's this ancestral language coming from the Dogon, talking about their ancestors came from Sirius more than 40,000 years ago. And I thought, if we don't navigate by the great American dream, a middle-class dream that every house should have 2 stories, a hall down the middle, and a Lincolnola, then maybe we look for where do we go to navigate in a world of uncertainty like we all experienced in 2021. So I decided we might just have to look into the indigenous history, because these people have been around for a long, long time. And so here we have the stars of Sirius playing songs of the cosmos on the piece. But it was a year of great change, huge change. And there's 2 sides to every story. And while I was away, this thing collected dust. And when I took my blower and I blew the dust out and I blew out from underneath, a snake skin came out from underneath there. So a 7-foot carpet snake had shed its skin in the music box underneath this thing, and I thought, we all got to shed a skin one way or another in 2021. So there's that part. Now I figured, if our ancestors came from the stars, maybe they came in spaceships. So I used this aluminium checker plate to give the sense of a spaceship. And I was aware that in Australian Aboriginal mythology, it's sometimes said that the ancestors came from the Pleiades, the 7 sisters. So there's the 7 sisters. And by the way, these seeds, they're called clothes peg seeds. And they come from the tip of the Cape. These other seeds, these flat ones, they're called matchbox seeds, and they came from Usher Point. And what I've done up here, I've taken seeds from a marsh plant that I found in bloom, and I've arranged the seeds in these in sets of 6, each time doing a different design. So in a sense, it's a star code. It's the code of navigation to fly from the Pleiades or Sirius, the central sun, and to come to the Earth and colonize it with ancestral possibilities from the star world. Now, it was an interesting year, and we had many factors, and one of the factors, there was alarm. There's the alarm bell ringing. Everybody panicked. So people took off, and the emu run happened. People heading for the bush. Where will I be safe? And by the way, the emu feathers. You might wonder why I chose emu feathers. I have a very dear friend who's an Aboriginal man from New South Wales. Just can't recall the name of his people at the moment.
Bunjalung.
Bunjalung. You probably know Murray. I said to Murray, I would love to use emu feathers in this sculpture because I drove the truck and I had emus running with me. And I had a sense of brotherhood with the emus. And this emu run, 150,000 people gone to the Cape during lockdown time. And I said, do I need permission from anybody to use emu feathers? And he said, I have emu in my father's dreaming, and I'm allowed to authorize you to use them. But I must tell you something. The significance of the emu in our culture is that all the emu feathers come in pairs. So they grow 2 feathers from one follicle. And the moral of the story and the wisdom, the teaching of the emu feathers is the emu runs on tracks on the ground. And when the emu comes to a fork in the road, it has to make the right choice. And I was thinking about 2021 and how appropriate it was, because we all had to make the right choices in 2021. So amongst everything else, we had a certain amount of pandemonium. And out of it, we made our own choices. And we discovered that the world keeps turning, even if we think it may be over. The world keeps turning. And I made a revelation in my own understanding about time. In a certain kind of way, I grew up with the notion that time seemed to go from a beginning toward an end. And I came to realize, through making this and letting the piece talk back to me, I came to realize that the year goes around a circle, the day goes around in a circle, century goes around in a circle, an eon goes around in a circle. But as it goes around, it doesn't come back to where it started. It comes back something that resembles where it started, but completely at a new level, completely changed, completely evolved. And so this piece talks about time. And it talks about, in a sense, my understanding of an indigenous sense of time. The time is in fact a spiral. And being a blacksmith, being an art metal guy, I started seeing time as being more like the thread on a bolt. You can wind it and it's progressing, but it's only through the winding, going past its datum point many, many, many times, that it reaches its ultimate possibility. So this piece is looking for a home, a permanent place to live. With this property on the market, a buyer may choose to keep it, but otherwise, I think a piece like this deserves a good home in a good gallery. So if you know one, give me a bell and we'll sort something out. Thanks for coming on a small journey with me, the journey of discovery in 2021.